Hi, this is George Alger with another segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be talking about the Oxnard Boys and Girls Club, and our guest is Dr. Jamshid Damawi. Did I really do that badly?
Perfect. Better than I could have done.
You're funny. Thank you. You're too kind. All right. Well, you've been with the Oxnard Boys and Girls Club for I think 7 or 8 years.
Correct.
Okay, but you have some interesting experience, so I want to highlight that first off. Could you tell us your position at Cal Lutheran?
Sure. I'm a professor of economics and I chair Department of Economics, Finance and Accounting. I've done a lot of studies. My record goes back to working as senior economist for the United Nations many years ago, 25 years with CLU. And then since 2004, I have done some close collaboration with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Oxnard and Port Hueneme. In fact, they invited me and gave me the opportunity to look into their after-school program. And that was in 2004, and I have been doing this evaluation of the Boys and Girls Club since that year for consecutive years. Recently, we put all that together in a more like a time series of studies of the impact of the after-school program. And we collected a lot of information from parents, from children, from administrators, from teachers, and also from the official record of the students, their grades that they get, at the end of the year. And we put them together, and it's a very compelling story of how important, how effective, how influential the role of the Boys and Girls Clubs in the lives of our children are. And that is really what prompted, these studies, my own passion for looking into this kind of stories as a social scientist, as an economist. I'm a little bit different type of economist. I really focus on putting human face on whatever comes in my way and the things that I do.
Great. Well, we're going to speak about that, but just to lay a pretty fundamental foundation here, tell us about the purpose of the Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Clubs have a long history, as your audience may know. But what they really do, they provide that support for families. I mean, for me, you may actually ask them to give you a definition that would be more official definition of it. For me, it's supporting families and communities. It's being there where the need is most urgent, which is helping youth to be the best they can be. If you look at our lives, parents work hard. If you look at counties like our own county, which is kind of expensive in many areas, so parents have to be out there to work. Their productivity, their ability to work depends on where the kids are. So if you go on the Boys and Girls Club, you see a safe place for kids. All the great things start from there, and it's true. All the great things in our life, it starts from when we are kids. I mean, that's really the initial step of investing in building a strong human capital. And Boys and Girls Club provide that. They bring the school districts together, they bring business communities together, they bring parents together, they bring people who care, and together they form this collaboration. And the impact of that, for example, for the after-school program, is that they help these kids to learn in formal, providing after school, power hours where they really give them tutorials, help them with their homework, and informal, through enrichment programs, through programs that build character, help them to develop confidence, self-reliance, empathy, friendship, these kind of things, the very software of the soul of a productive and successful human being. That's what the Boys and Girls Clubs do.
Could you give some examples of how, or what specific programs would be in place to help them build confidence? And
Absolutely. First of all, they have programs where they actually teach them. For example, mentoring. I think in our studies we showed about almost 70%, maybe 69% of them really actually have mentors. Mentoring has proved in many studies that is a very important building of the confidence of the people. Kids who really need to look up to come solve the problems, ask for help, be inspired. Inspiration is one of the important things about mentors. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that they really receive help, regular help with their mathematics, with their English, with other things. They have what is called Power Hour, where kids go there, and learn. And when you learn, when you receive help, many parents either don't have the time or the skills to provide that help, or the money for that matter, because Boys and Girls Club really serve the biggest percentage of kids that they serve are economically hardened up and in kind of needs of help and assistance. If you look at the percentage of kids who receive free or reduced lunch, that's an indicator of the economic needs.
Right.
But the important thing is that an organization like Boys and Girls Club look at them as a potential for betterness, for improvement, for what they can be in the future. And yes, these kind of assistants really bring up higher high school graduation, higher attendance to university, and many other things. Character is very important. Why people or some of these kids join gangs? If you really look at the height of the criminal activities, let's call it, is during the after school hours. Studies after studies show that. It's when the schools close, when the kids come out, that's where the rate of the misdemeanors, offenses, all other things are starting hiking. Now, the choice is that these kids can go be involved there or come to Boys and Girls Clubs, engaged in physical education. We've shown that in our studies, time and time. We have record of that, how many of them say that they do that, how many hours they do it, how they feel after that. Nutrition classes, receiving help for the schoolwork, and then enrichment programs, volunteering. That's very important. To me, it's a very good indicator to see that a kid volunteers for something good, to serve common good. That altruism that you see kind of coming to find, to germinate, to find roots. And that what develops later on becomes good character, becomes a person who is emotionally, mentally, intellectually is developed. And this always starts with nurturing. Just like anything else, we need to nurture to support our kids. Do need that.
Now, how much does it cost for a family to put their children within a Boys and Girls Club that's local to them?
To be honest, this is a question I really don't know the exact answer to that. I must tell you that. But I know that they don't turn kids away. As far as I know, I hope that I'm not causing a tremendous burden for them, but I'm sure that that's how they really conduct their work. They support all the kids that they can, and this is why it's important for us to enable them to do that. But the amount is definitely, in a comparative sense, is much lower. The exact numbers, to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it is very quite negligible compared to what usually this type of care require.
And we were talking a little bit earlier about the economic studies, and I was very impressed with the ratio that you were talking about in regards to donations to support the Boys and Girls Club and what the economic impact was. Could you speak to that?
I'm glad you asked me that question. I want to say that Boys and Girls Club of Greater Oxnard and Port Hueneme was one of the leading, in fact, in my opinion, I think it was the second club nationwide who embarked on doing that kind of what's called economic impact study. We did that first for the Boys and Girls Club of Oxnard and Port Hueneme in 2008. And then after that, there was a study that I did for the LA County, and then we did County of Ventura. In that study, we looked at return on investment. We defined by the following impacts: reduction in teen pregnancy, increase in high school graduation, reduction in criminal activities by reduction in the rate of arrest of the youth, how parents are able to maintain their job, to work and earn income, drug abuse reduction, ability of the parents to upgrade their skills. So we put all of these things together. We did surveys, we collected information. And also, Boys and Girls Club, like any other organization, spend money on their capital budget, regular budget. So I did some input-output analysis with regard to that aspect of the study. And finally, we ended up with a rate of return of $1 brings $12 back. Back in what ways? Increased parents' income, reduction of teen pregnancy, reduction in criminal justice cost, and physical education, other things. So now, if you look at it, you can look at it as a return on investment. I just want to say that this is unbelievably high, impressive. You don't really find investments anywhere in private sector, in government sector, which come up with that kind of return. And this is an economic return. Return in what? In doing what can help us to be better, which means investing in our kids, in our youth. And then we did, when I say we, this myself, my company that does that, we did that for the state of California. We've had a few work with Florida, with Arizona, with New Jersey. So there are a lot of organizations, Boys and Girls Club around the country are really interested in these type of studies. And this is really a very serious study in how investment in building human capital can pay off.
Wow.
So that's what we did, and you probably heard about that.
Right. Okay, now your current involvement, or your involvement since 2004, is it in addition to the economic study? I mean, not that that's a pretty impressive aid to the organization, but are you also involved with the children yourself?
Yes, there are actually, one is that since 2004, when I mentioned my engagement with the Boys and Girls Club was to be their after-school program evaluator. So that was the function. At that time, they had a grant from 21st Century Learning Communities, and that's where they supported the after-school program. And then the initiative, with the state of California, the ACES program, what they call, was added on, which actually added a lot of resources, to allowing, more after-school program to be available. What I have done over these years, since 2004, I gathered information through surveying kids, through surveying their parents, through surveying their teachers, through surveying their administrators, and also the official data that we got from the school districts. So every year, we gather this information, we put them together, we conduct an analysis, and we wrote a report showing that what happened over the last year. And these studies we just carried on, year after year. And then I said, last year we put them together in a series, one comprehensive study of the 7 years of the past. The economic impact study is very similar, but it has a slightly different focus. It's not just based on after-school program. It's based on the return on investment that donors and others do in the Boys and Girls Clubs, which involve obviously after-school program or all other programs that they have. Because Boys and Girls Club offer this opportunity for kids to come and be club members. And as a club members, they receive these enrichment programs, they receive this kind of assistance. So there's a slight difference between them, although there are a lot of similarities. But I've done some other work for the boys, particularly Boys and Girls Club Greater Oxnard and Port Hueneme. I worked with them on other projects, which involve, for example, their re-entry programs, the criminal justice system that they work, and they actually show that they have got a much lower rate of recidivism. They have got some other programs. They are very progressive, very kind of, in my opinion, kind of avant-garde type of institutions. They kind of look forward, And I think, the management and the board of the clubs are very much, on the kind of cutting edge, maybe, of these type of vision of what really makes an organization to be dynamic and to be addressing the real issues of a community. And I think that's what I've really experienced over all these years with the club. And I'm very happy to be continuing my work with them.
Great.
And exploring other ideas where, my work, their attention can really be something useful for the community that we all serve.
Okay, well, we're actually just about out of time right now. I wonder if you could give us sort of a summating message that you would like to convey to the viewers of this program regarding the...
I'm so happy you give me that opportunity. We kind of started talking a little bit before we started, and I said that U.S. Census, their studies shows that in United States as a whole, about 58% of people who are born in an area continue living there when they grow and they become older. So these kind of physical mobility, so to speak, is not that high, people think. In fact, 58 is for the United States. Some states are lower, some states is higher. California is about 53%. What it means? It means that you look around yourself in Ventura County, city of Oxnard, city of Ventura. The kids that you see now, these are the grown-ups of the future by the ratio of more than 50%. Now make a decision. What kind of grown-ups you want? Productive, confident, be able to provide for themselves and the community and propel the development and growth of the community, or be in the juvenile criminal system or criminal justice system, unproductive, need help, need assistance, to be dragged along. So investment that we make in our youth is smart, is relevant, it works. And I think anybody who donates money or provide assistance, volunteer work is very good as well as money, they should really look at their work with great pride, that what they're doing, they're building the elements of a better future for their kids and therefore for themselves and for their children.
Well said.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for coming by.
My pleasure.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we see you again.